Meeting to order. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Yes, Director Gould.
Present.
Orzali.
Present.
Wood.
Present.
Director Sheets is absent, along with Director Kelly and Director Jones. They are both absent this evening. Director White.
Here.
Director Clark.
Present.
And President Saylor's turning it back over to you.
Thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to have Director White lead us in the pledge to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America,
and to the
and to the
republic
republic
for which
for which
it
it
stands,
stands, one
One
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
with
with liberty and justice
for all.
for all.
Thank you very much, Director White. Next is the Metro Cable announcement. The open session meeting is videotaped for cablecast on Metro Cable 14, replayed on Sunday, January 16th at 9 a.m. and Monday, January 17th at 6 p.m. on Channel 14, webcast at metro14live.saccounty.net. The next announcement that I have is action item number 2, the approval of dissolution agreement with the California Fire and Rescue Training Authority has been removed from the agenda tonight. Next, public opportunity to discuss matters of public interest within district jurisdiction, including items on or not on the agenda. Madam Clerk, do we have any speakers?
All right. I believe we had Matt Cole indicate he wanted to speak this evening, and I know we have several other people on the line. I will remind everyone that it is a 3-minute limit for each public comment. And if you want to begin, Matt, we can get started with you, and then Art can take some time to unmute everyone else and give them the option to speak.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you. I'd like to take a 3-minute opportunity just to speak prior to closed session. So President Saylors, members of the board, Chief Harms, those from the community on the call, as well as 522 brothers and sisters. Though I've only been in this position for 10 days, I've been part of Metro Fire for over 22 years now, and I've been in the fire service family for a lifetime. I never have seen the challenges that the fire service is facing today. The impact on all divisions is very significant. Our 522 members are doing more than less everywhere. CRD, ASP, Fleet, the line, we're all busier than ever, covering for those who are sick, for long-term vacancies, for those who are out taking care of family members. We've been running more calls than ever, and multiple times members are not going home on days that they want to be with their families. Today, we have 18 folks who were not allowed to go home so that we could keep companies on the road. We have folks working into positions that are not normally their own, vacating their regular firehouses to help us keep companies open, all while balancing challenges at home. Talking to a 522 brother the other day, somebody way smarter than me, brought to my attention that most industries have had their challenges and weaknesses exposed with the dynamics of COVID. And I don't think the fire service is immune to that. What I think we've seen is maybe a glimpse into our future. We're going to have to make some changes to ensure that we're successful in the future. Decisions made in the 90s are not going to help us provide quality service to our communities. We're going to have to work together as we start to navigate those decisions and make those changes. For our people right now, there is no safe place. Through my career, either work or home has been a haven, depending on when and what time frame we're talking about. But right now, work is weird, home is weird, school is weird, coffee shops are weird. We need to do whatever we can to ensure Metro is a place where people want to be and where people are excited to come and help on all levels. And so getting there is going to be a journey. And that's a journey that you board members tonight have an opportunity to take that first step. So in closed session, you will have an opportunity to take care of our most important resources, our human resources, our people. And by doing so, you will give us an opportunity to stay in contract or actually get back into contract and work together and have a chance to to lock arms and put our heads down and ensure that Metro is as strong as possible in the future. And when you do so, I will be the first to thank you for that. So I'll have much more to share in my 522 report, but I just wanted to connect to everybody. Thank those participants on the Zoom. We have over 100 participants. The membership is engaged. We're not just getting to sit on the sidelines and expect others to carry this burden. We want to commit to being part of the solution, and I think the first step is tonight. So thank you all.
Thank you, BC Cole. Are there any other speakers?
I am going through the attendees list right now, enabling the ability to unmute themselves. There are about 90-ish attendees, so it's a long list I'm going through. Just give me just one moment.
Okay, take your time. Thank you.
To attendees, you should have gotten notice for most of you to have the ability to talk. I'm still going through a list, but if anybody would like to present something to the board right now, whereas you have the ability to unmute yourselves, please do so at this time. Okay, no response from the first half, so still going through the list. Okay, attendees, if you've just given the opportunity to unmute yourselves, this is your chance now to present anything to the board. All right, no response from the other third. Still going through the list. Okay, so everybody that whom I can allow to talk at this point has been given the option to. If anybody would like to present at this time, please do so. If you did not get a notice to unmute, that means you've had an older version of Zoom and I am unable to allow you to speak. So anybody who would like to speak now, please go for it. Looks like everybody is okay.
All right,
Thank
then.
you for doing that, Art.
No problem. I'm going to be closing everybody out now.
Great.
Thank you, Art. All right, having no more public opportunities, moving on to the consent items. Are there any questions about the consent? I'll take a motion.
Madam Chair, I'll make that motion.
Second,
Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Director Gould,
Aye.
Orzali,
Aye.
Wood,
Aye.
White,
Aye.
Clark,
aye.
and Sailors.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Moving on to the presentation items. We have a Certificate of Achievement Award for Excellence in Financial Reporting. Mr. Dave O'Toole, Chief Financial Officer.
Thank you, Chair and members. Yes, as the agenda item says, we are recent recipients of a couple of awards from the Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada. These are, you're familiar with these. We've gotten both of these awards before. The first one for our CAFR, our Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. This was for the 2019-20 report. And I have, I've got it handy. You have the awards in your packets, but the actual document is right here. That's probably, sorry, not a very good didn't pick up well on the screen there, but it's a big, a very large and comprehensive document compiled with the assistance of the entire organization. And really a mammoth amount of work. Ron Empedrad ultimately compiles it and submits it. And I think we've got a few people on the call from finance today too. So I want to thank them this moment too. But the first award then was for the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence Financial Reporting for the CAFR. That was our 7th consecutive year. And then the second award, I'm going to try the visual again, a little smaller. That's the what we call the Community Annual Report. Received the award for outstanding achievement in popular annual financial reporting. A much smaller group receives this award, and the CAR is a hopefully everyone has read it, familiar with it. It's a really handy 25-page document that explains the operations, what the fire service is about, and includes baseline financial data. As someone who's just learning about Metro Fire not too long ago, I found the CAR online and it was extremely helpful. So I can personally appreciate why we received the award, because it is a really extraordinary effort. I want to again commend the team for getting those, receiving those awards. That was the 3rd consecutive year for the CAR and the 7th consecutive year for the CAFR. Subject to your question, that concludes my remarks.
Thank you, Mr. O'Toole. Any board members have any questions or comments?
Just like to say, this is Director White. I just wanted to say congratulations to Dave O'Toole and his team for the fine work in preparing both reports.
Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Just would echo that, and I just want to, Dave, you're in an enviable position of having such a great staff behind you. I'm glad to hear you mentioned Ron and everyone else that's worked on that. You and Amanda before you have been able to sit in this role and say great things about our reporting, but it's all because of the staff that you guys have, and I'm glad to hear them get recognized.
Thank you.
Director Zali, you have a comment?
I do. These things are a tremendous amount of work, and it would seem like, oh, yeah, the award, but the awards not only are a recognition of the incredible effort that your folks put forward, but they're also useful to Metro Fire in that they lend credibility to the organization when we're doing grants, applications, and so forth. All of this stuff used as supporting documentation plays a significant role in those decisions. And I have great respect for what you've done there.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions?
Yes, I have one, Madam Chair. I echo the comments of previous comments by our directors. And it's just a continuation of the excellence of our finance department. And Mr. O'Toole and his staff is to be congratulated.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. O'Toole. Moving on to our next action item. Notice of award amendment, AFG 20 cardiac monitor defibrillators. Erin Castleberry.
Good evening, board. I'm happy to be here tonight to bring an award amendment to you for our AFG 20 monitor defibrillator grant. Due to efforts of staff to obtain competitive pricing on our monitor defibrillators, the total cost of the project actually came in less than anticipated, and that left us with an approximate $178,000 in funding still available on our AFG award. So what we did was we worked with the EMS division to identify an additional need for the organization, and worked with our friends at FEMA and AFG to put in an amendment to our grant award to increase our scope of work, to also include the replacement of 12 of our automated chest compression devices, which are at the end of their life cycle. So that is not our entire inventory of automated chest compression devices. It's only a portion. We are going to be requesting an AFG grant in this coming fiscal year for the remainder of those chest compression devices. But this is a start to get us towards total replacement. So with that, the total cost of the project has actually been reduced even with the added scope. And again, that's because of competitive pricing. So you'll notice that our two budget amendments reflect changes to the budget needed to implement this scope change. And in total, the district has a reduced district portion in the amount of about $256,000. So we've been able to get a little more for a little less. So that's great news for us. So we would request that the board approve the budget amendments so that we can implement this scope of work change on our AFG 20 grant. I'll take any questions that you have.
Does anyone have any questions or comments?
I just want to congratulate Erin for the work that she does. It is a monumental task to get these done, and I truly appreciate the effort.
Any other questions or comments? Oh, go ahead, Director White.
Let me put my hand down. What do you, Erin, what do you attribute the difference in the estimate to the actual cost for, is it competitive bid, economy of scale, just the lower of actual costs?
Yes, so for the monitor defibrillators, when we prepare a grant application, we kind of look at budget estimates for what a unit cost would be for the item. And we can't assume that we're going to be able to get discounted pricing. So we sort of put in what our best guess is at the time of the application, which, as you know, is a lot of times 1 year in advance of the purchase, sometimes even longer than that. So what we were able to do for this particular one was we were able to secure competitive pricing through the SAVIC buying group. You guys approved that bid award earlier last year, I think November maybe, for the monitor defibrillators. And that was through Stryker, was the vendor for the monitor defibrillators. And that was actually I think 13% discount off of the list price. And then in addition to that, we were able to secure a trade-in credit on our existing monitor defibrillators. That was, I think, $5,000 each. So that was a significant reduction to our total project cost. But at the time of the grant application, we can't make all of those assumptions that we were going to be able to do that. All of those things required approval from FEMA. The trade-in credit required us to go back and, do a disposition request with FEMA because those were previously funded grant items. So there was just all these steps that had to be done that couldn't really be done until after we got the grant award. So that is what led to the total project cost reduction. It was a combination of competitive pricing through a cooperative purchasing agreement combined with the trade-in credit that we were able to receive that at the time of our grant application, we didn't have those numbers available to us.
Fantastic. That's what I was kind of assuming. So we were able to trade in 1-for-1 all units. There's nothing that the district needs to surplus at this time.
Correct.
Or
so yeah, how that will actually work, once the trade out actually happens, which I believe for the monitor defibrillators is going to be March or the very end of March, beginning of April, we will be bringing to the board at that time later in March a disposition of the old monitor defibrillators for you guys to approve as surplus property so that we can actually trade those in. We have already received approval from FEMA to dispose of those. So we can't do that disposition request right this moment because we will still be using them until we get our new ones. So that's why we haven't brought that to you just yet.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much, Ms. Castleberry. Moving on. At this point,
Melissa, is this an action item that we need to take a vote on?
Yes, provided everyone has had their questions answered, we can go ahead and look for a motion.
Motion, thank you.
Madam Chair, I move on the question.
I'll second.
Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Yes, Director Gould,
Aye.
Orzali,
Aye.
Wood,
Aye.
White,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
and Sailors.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much. At this time, we will move to closed session. Meeting is adjourned to closed session. We'll see you all in closed session. Thank you very much.
Recording stopped.
Everyone, Council Lavra, if you'd like to report out from closed session.
Yes, thank you, Director Sailors. The board met in closed session with respect to item number 1 on the agenda, the workers' compensation claim for employee James Novotny. The board voted to give settlement authority to its third-party administrator to effectuate a settlement of that workers' compensation claim. With respect to item number 2, conference with labor negotiator, the board met with its designated labor negotiator with respect to the employee organizations listed in the agenda. No reportable action was taken. Number 3, the board met to discuss the industrial disability retirement of employee Brent Barsdale. No reportable action was taken. The matter to be considered tonight to conclude the open session. Thank you.
So I'm just going to ask this question. Do we vote on item number 3 now in open session?
Yes.
Okay, I will entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I'll move staff's recommendation on the industrial disability retirement issue for Brent Barsdale.
I second the motion.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Director Gould,
Aye.
Orzali,
Aye.
Wood,
Aye.
White,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
and Sailors.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Next, we move to reports. The president's report. Okay. Next Wednesday on January 19th at 9 o'clock at the State Capitol in room 437, there is an oversight hearing for ambulance patient offload delays. There is going to be testimony. I urge anyone who is available to go listen to this. It pertains exactly to wall time, and there will be many firefighters in uniforms there to support this. We are urging the legislature to change some of the wording in our 201 laws to allow and get the hospitals to actually get our patients off our gurneys and let our ambulances back out into our area that we actually are responsible for. So once again, January 19th at 9 o'clock, State Capitol, room 437. Next, on February 11th, Sacramento Metro Chamber will be having the Toast to Business. If anyone is interested in this, please let me know as soon as possible. And then we can, Melissa can order the tickets and go to this. Next, it's Cap to Cap. Cap to Cap is scheduled this year from April 30th through May 4th. This is the first time the conference will be held in person since 2019. Staff members attending will be Chief Harms, D.C. Bailey, Chief Economic Development Officer Jeff Fry, and Deputy Fire Marshal Fields. Board members scheduled to go in 2020 will be offered to attend this year. That would include myself, Directors Clark, Sheets, and Wood. For board members interested in attending as an alternate, let me, no, and Clerk Pinella, no. And if a board member cannot attend, an alternate will be selected based on previous attendance. Next up, Fire Chief's report. Chief Arms, what have you got?
I got quite a few things tonight, directors. Thank you for the opportunity. In the month of December, we had about 219 years of service retire. We had engineer Troy Nagosik with 21 years, firefighter John Carr, 19 years, engineer John Reeves, 21 years, engineer Jeff Sholin with 21 years, engineers James Beal with 19 years, firefighter Adam Russell, 27 years, Captain Sean Condit, 34 years, engineer Roy Rudd, 30 years, and Deputy Chief Greg Casantini, 27 years. Each of them had just an incredible impact on this organization and the service that we provide each and every day. I'd like to say congratulations to each and every one of them, and good luck in their future endeavors and into their retirement as they move forward. Congratulations to each of them. Effective on January 1st, Battalion Chief Matt Cole became the new Vice President for Local 522 and transitioned to a day assignment. Also effective on January 10th, Captain Adam Spiva was selected to fill the position as the program manager of the Mobile Integrated Health Program. As you'll hear in a second, Battalion Chief Scott Perryman, who has done just an outstanding job on that, is transitioning to a BC's position as he gets promoted. And Adam is coming in and filling those shoes for Scott to be able to make sure that program continues forward. For new hires on January 3rd, we hired a fire mechanic. His name is Brandon Christian. Welcome aboard. Also, two promotions, one on January 6th is Captain Eric Paulson. Congratulations to Eric. And as I said, January 10th, Scott Perryman was promoted to BC. So congratulations to the new folks that are coming in, Matt on his election to the position with 522, and look forward to working with Matt. And also Adam as he tries to figure out this new role with Mobile Integrated Health. The really good thing is Scott is close by to be able to help him. Just a quick update. We'll have a presentation at our next board meeting, but we had our three paramedics that went, or our three EMTs that went through the ARC program this past year in 2021. All three of them were successful in completion of the program. Two of them have passed their national registry. One is in the process right now. Due to COVID, our SCIMSA has delayed their final step, which was that they become accredited, but they have rescheduled that for February 7th for that group. Myself, I think Chief Mitchell, along with staff from EMS, we had an opportunity to sit down with all three of them. The EMS class or EMS group is going to come back with a report on it, things that went well, things that we should look at in the future, and then also with the opportunity of our SAFER grant, what does that look like as an organization as we move forward? A lot of people looked at this program, and when I say a lot of people, a lot of other fire departments, as everybody is hiring EMTs, and a lot of interest in being able to look across the region as a regional program as we move forward. So more to come on that during the next board meeting, a full report on it. Due to COVID protocol, myself and Chief Jenkins did a video this week. I've asked Melissa to send a copy out to each of you where we went through and gave an update on staffing and the impact of COVID, an update on telestaff, and I think Chief Mitchell is going to talk a little bit more about that. Our meetings with the hospital representatives, along with some of the actions that were taken over the past few days. Reminder about donated leave that is coming up, and just a few other items that were timely and trying to get information out to the crews the best we can. Two last things. One is once again, to thank to Dave and all of our finance people. They have done just a phenomenal job to be able to get an award for 7 years and for 2 years. And I know for me personally, it shows up on my desk or it's emailed to me and we go through and review it. But it is really the finance department that puts together those really the packets, but it really is the information and what they do every day, all year long, that puts us in a position for success as we move forward. So Dave, thank you, and please thank all of your folks for everything that they do out there.
Thank you.
The last thing is just the two sides is the professional staff that is here at headquarters or at fleet or at logistics, and for all of our members that are out on the street delivering service every day. As a fire chief, the strength of any organization is your people, and our people have done just a tremendous job as we've been going through the pandemic. As you know, I usually have some type of updates for each of you. The amount of activity that we're seeing out on the street, but still to this day, the amount of care that is put into things, the treatment that is given to people. And when I look at the professional staff, their ability to really work in a difficult time and manage it and work remote, but keep this organization moving forward is just really the hallmark of all the members that are out there. So that ends my report. Unless you have any questions for me, I'm going to turn it over to Chief Mitchell on the operations report. Chief Mitchell.
Okay, no questions there. Thanks, Chief Harms. Good evening, President Sailors Board and all the attendants tonight. I have quite a few items to talk about at request of the board. I'll be covering our current COVID situation, some staffing items, addressing some wall times, as well as some statistics. So I'll start off with where we're at with COVID. This recent spike has really hit us hard. That's not a surprise to anybody. Our numbers within our department, and talking with some of our close partners here, are close to what others are seeing by scale. Currently, as of 6 p.m. tonight, appreciate EMS's work on this. To update as we go forth and deal with this each day, and we get results back in the evening. We're at 97 members off duty. 90 of those folks are line members, with 74 current members COVID positive. We did have some folks that were returned to duty today, and so those numbers are close to last night. And folks within this period of the COVID protocol will continue to come back to work, but as we've seen going through the days, we get folks testing a day, some come up positive or symptomatic, and then we get a few folks back. So we are at the highest level that we've been throughout the pandemic right now, though, with 97 folks off. Then EMS is also working on a database allowing us to drill down into the numbers some more as we look at how everything's spread out amongst the different shifts. I appreciate the work on that. As of yesterday, it's just about even across the shifts. A shift, we have 30 members off, B shift is 27, and C shift is 27. And then there's some other line positions in there as well with MIH and some of the other positions. So it's spread out fairly evenly across the shifts, which at those numbers, that's not good news, but it is across all three shifts. To help some of the solutions that we've integrated into this very contagious variant that we've experienced, we're continuing to follow the CDC, California Department of Public Health, Sac County Public Health, and SCEMSA direction and protocols. We've recently instituted limiting fire station activities as well as activities out in the public and the community to decrease the potential for exposures for our members for a couple of weeks at least. And we'll be reviewing that this next week to look at whether we extend that or if we start moving back into doing fire around survival training, fit testing, and some of those other things, but to eliminate as much as possible while being able to respond to incidents and keep our station staff. We made that decision. We're also using best practices, continuing to encourage disinfecting and cleaning of the stations, high touch surfaces, and things of that nature. And then we have had a couple of instances in some of the fire stations that have met some predetermined criteria of multiple members on the same shift working the same shift. When we get to those levels of having three, we institute a deep decon plan, which involves using foggers in the fire station to disinfect even further multiple surfaces there. And then as well, we're still managing through additional staffing and some light duty folks in EMS, our own internal testing processes. So we're able to test all of those members as well as some of our allied agencies and their families as needed to identify, whether folks are COVID positive and assist them with that. So that's a very big positive. We'll move on into staffing. We'll talk a little bit about some of those challenges that come along with having 90 of our line members off work right now. We predetermined last year and in previous years, even to that when we started in the pandemic, an emergency staffing plan, which we have utilized in the brownout situations, identifying how to mitigate some of our vacancies that we're unable to fill due to not being able to bring folks back to work once we reach that threshold. I'll tell you that changes throughout the day. Each day of the shift, we get more folks that potentially either come back as symptomatic and we need to get them home, or things change throughout the day. So we have been utilizing that staffing plan. We did put out an update today. I appreciate the communication with Vice President Cole to get that out as an awareness piece, so that we are moving forward on being able to maintain our operational coverage and do the best we can with what we're dealing with. We've also increased our efforts as far as allowing captains who have previously held the rank of engineer to work down because of our short staffing in the engineer rank. We've moved up worked with labor, and we're able to move up the engineer exam to next month. Hopeful that we'll have some new positions being able to be filled by the first part of March with that engineer exam, and the engineers academy before that, to set our people up for success as they move through that process. And then we're also meeting with labor early in February to discuss alternatives, to provide more tools in the toolbox if there's alternatives to be able to move some more members around into different positions. So we continue that collaboration, and we really appreciate that. Our lateral firefighters that finished up their orientation training from 21-2, a number of them are finishing up their ride-along process. They will be moving out and counting as staffing to help. We were able to get an agreement with 522 as well, as they got close to the end, to move some of those folks earlier into staffing if they qualified, and we're able to keep some engines and ambulances open with that being done. And so it's really been an all-hands effort to make sure we do our best with what we've got. As mentioned previous, we're planning for Academy 22-1 to start in late February, and that academy will include 21 safer positions and quite a few other folks to increase our labor pool. Right now, we are 25 firefighters over if we're looking at constant staffing, although the 22 engineers positions are opening, will bring us pretty well flush to where we need to bring in those extra folks in that next academy to continue our growth and being able to fill the positions that are open. And then on top of all of that, we had our program that maintains our staffing, telestaff, go down. If it wasn't enough with everything else going on, we had telestaff go down on December 11th, which affected almost every division in the agency operationally, obviously, to be able to staff our fire stations. How we keep accountability, affects payroll, human resources for work comp tracking, and things like that. I will say that I am incredibly proud of the members pulling together, both from professional staff and from labor, to be able to quickly develop within days, but I feel like it was even closer to hours, a Google document process for us to be able to get back on path and be able to keep accountability, which is continuing to grow in its capacity on managing this, as telestaff is still out as of this date. It's been amazing. There's some technical expertise out there within our membership that really has been leveraged to do that. And it's been well received and really appreciated by all. So they're doing a great job there. I did get some updates today from our vendor UKG telestaff. We continue to move through. There's 2 phases of being able to redeploy telestaff. Phase 1 has been successful. We're now into phase 2, which looking at our databases and making sure all the information is there from prior to the system going down. And before we bring it back online, we're going to do our due diligence to make sure that everything is there, it's working correctly, the capacity is there before we switch back. But we'll be using Google Docs until that point. Expectation right now is probably by the end of this month is our goal, but we have to be flexible on that. I'll move on over to wall times. Our system has been experiencing wall time issues for quite a few years. It's been heavily exacerbated with the recent COVID surge. I know we've all seen the news, and we're all communicating about the impacts that we've had with recent surges in COVID. I will say we're working very closely with our partner fire agencies and other county agencies to alleviate it. On January 3rd, SCEMSA deactivated the hospital-initiated diversion plan because of hospital overcrowding. It was creating more of a burden on the system. So that action went into effect on the 3rd, at least for 2 weeks. The fire chief, ops chiefs, EMS chiefs are continuing to work on strategies to improve hospital bed delays and moving patients over. We've taken some of the following actions. We've developed and implemented an ambulance drawdown plan county-wide last year. We also stopped all ambulance move-ups in the county system last year to decrease our unit hour utilization. On those ambulances, we're regularly meeting with SCEMSA, as well as the hospital executives and other chief officers to update the situation and collaborate on mitigations. We did have on the 7th of January, last Friday, a significant drawdown. We did actually reach ambulance level 0 in the county, meaning there was no ambulances available due to extended wall times and some other contributing factors, and immediately took some of the following actions. We contacted SCEMSA's duty officer to assist on leveraging the hospitals to clear our ambulances. We did deliver 40 cots to 4 different hospitals, placed a request to county OES, who were able to go into the shelter cache and provide us with those cots that are rated for people with access and functional needs as well. Our logistics division stepped up that night and delivered all 40 of those cots, 10 each to UC Davis, Sutter Medical, Kaiser South, and Mercy San Juan. And then our EMS chiefs, Metro Fire, as well as SAC Fire, facilitated conversations with the emergency department managers to make sure that there was buy-in for how we were going to use the cots and consolidating patients and to get the ambulances back out in the system. We also started to deploy EMS 24 and the battalion chiefs out to each hospital to integrate with the hospital staff to continue to advocate for patient consolidation and release of our ambulances. And then recently, our PIO has been working with our local media to discuss the system, the EMS system impacts, hospital bed delays, and educate the public on usage of 911. A couple other items there. 7 of our area hospitals have submitted a request for paramedics to deploy to emergency departments in order to be utilized for assistance with wall time management. I did get an email during this meeting tonight. I'm happy to report that 3 of the hospitals, Kaiser South, Mercy General, and Mercy Methodist, have current debt. Actually, the staff has started to arrive. They will each be receiving 6 paramedics to work through being able to, for our folks to transfer care to them to get back out in the system. As well, they are working on surge bed capacity, adding a number of hospital beds to each of those facilities. And we're also planning on working with Mercy San Juan and UC Davis to add capacity for additional surge beds and staffing to continue to assist with the surge. And then the state has approved all of those resource requests. So I'm glad to say they're starting to arrive, and we look forward to getting that into place here. Looking at probably by the end of it, about 200 additional patient beds at build out completed by end of next week. And then as Director Sailors had mentioned, we've been involved at the state level with the EMSA. Fire chief's been in meetings to develop plans on how to deal with this at a higher level in the state. That January 19th meeting, as was mentioned, a rep from all the fire agencies will be attending, and really to have that hearing on additional mitigations we can take for ambulance patient offload times. I need to take a breath. And then finally, the statistics. 10,843 calls since our last report. That averages about 318 calls per day, which is up over about 25% over what our last report was. So you have heard about the increase in call volume. It is there, it's happening. Our folks are running more incidents. I just would like to close by saying a huge thank you to all of our members. I think if you take call volume, COVID, the wall time challenges, staffing of our fire stations, you just throw on top of that cherry, the telestaff going down the middle of all this, it just keeps coming. Our ability to maintain the best operational coverage has remained, and our providing of service delivery has remained, as a testament to our folks that are out there each and every day coming to work and doing the best they can in this significantly impacted time. So that was a lot of words. I hope that that covered everything that was requested, and I'll take any questions other than that into my remarks.
Thank you, Deputy Chief Mitchell. Up next is Firefighters Local 522.
Okay, members of the board, I'd like to first observe a moment of silence on behalf of LA County Fire Local 1014. They lost a 21-year veteran, Jonathan Flagler, a week ago today. He was lost in a structure fire. He was a CPF brother. And I'd like everybody to observe just a moment of silence for firefighter Flagler. Thank you all very much. He is survived by his wife and 2 children. May our thoughts and prayers be with them. I as well would like to welcome new member Brandon Christian to the 522 family. He's working in Fleet, so excited to get to know Brandon a little bit better. This next Wednesday, I will be sworn in to the 522 E-Board along with Trevor Jameson as our new president, Dustin Rodriguez as our new secretary treasurer, and Jeremy Crawford as the director of member services. I'd like to thank Mike McGoldrick for the service that he gave 522 over the last 2 years. I'm excited to work on the E-Board with each of them as well as closer with each of you. This next month, we'll be adding a 4th shift rep to A, B, and C shift with the intent to give additional support and guidance to our new employees. We are going to have a lot of probationary employees coming on board in addition to those that we've just brought in, as well as to focus on supporting the SRP employees and some of their needs. So I'm excited about that change. We're also going to add house stewards so that 522 has a good flow of information up and down out of each one of our firehouses. I am very happy that we were able to work with management on moving the engineers test up. Currently, my understanding is we have 38 members now studying hard and preparing for that test. So I wish everybody success, and I think that's going to be a key component into getting folks into the right seats to identify what our challenges are as far as staffing goes and keeping companies open as we hopefully move out of this latest surge. I appreciate Chief Mitchell's report there. He referenced many times working with labor on a lot of the things that we're focusing on. We appreciate being looped in on a lot of the decisions being made. There's a lot of moving parts. And the reference there of how 522 continues to step up and bend over backwards to ensure that we're delivering quality service to the community. I'm proud of each one of my brothers and sisters, and I am humbly honored to represent them moving into 2022. That completes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Cole. Next up is committee and delegate reports. First off, the executive committee met tonight at 5:30, and we changed one position on the finance committee. I will no longer be the alternate. Director Clark will be the alternate on the finance committee. Next up, Communications Center JPA, DC Wagaman. Glad you're back.
Good evening, President, sailors, and directors. And I am going to hijack just the first part of my report to say thank you. Thank you to the board of directors for the thoughts, prayers, emails, text messages, and phone calls during my recovery process. And I certainly want to publicly thank the men and women of Metro Fire who supported my family and myself through a very difficult time in my life. I have no doubt that without their support, I certainly wouldn't be, in this Zoom box here as quickly as I did. And for that, I will be forever grateful. It is very humbling and it's very special to be a part of such an amazing organization. I wouldn't want to wish upon anybody injury, but just know that if it does happen, that there is a massive support mechanism of Metro Fire to get you through that. So it is, I'm beyond appreciative. So thank you. Now on to the business. The Dispatch JPA board last met on January 11th. During that board meeting, there were 4 action items. We approved unanimously the operations manager contract. That's with Julie Todd. We also approved an executive director contract with Consumidus Fire District to again serve as our new chief executive director at the Comm Center. The person that was chosen from CSD to fulfill that spot is going to be Deputy Chief Troy Bear. This is contingent upon a ratification of this contract before the CSD board on January 19th. And the last two items, that we did have some changes in the board makeup. So I will be serving as the new board chair for 2022, as well as Chief Chad Wilson from Folsom Fire will be the vice chair. That concludes my report. The JPA Dispatch Board will meet again on February 8th, 9 o'clock via Microsoft Teams. Thank you.
Thank you, DC Wagaman. Next up, California Fire and Rescue Training, JPA, Chief Harms.
We last met on December 14th. We continue with supporting the operation. Training will continue until April 30th with a dissolution date of June 30th. Currently, myself, along with John Lavra, are working through all of the agreements and making sure that everything is lining up for the dissolution to occur on June 30th. Our next meeting is on January 19th. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Harms. Next up, Finance and Audit Committee, Director Orzali.
Finance and Audit Committee has not met. Our next meeting will be on 27 January at 5:30 p.m.
Thank you, Director Orzali. Policy Committee, Director Gould.
Policy Committee will meet next on February 10th, 22 at 5:30 p.m.
Thank you very much, Director Gould. Next up, board member questions and comments. Director Gould.
No comment. Congratulations to everyone.
Thank you. Director Orzali.
I have no report for this evening.
Thank you. Director Wood.
I just want to congratulate Scott Perryman. We probably wouldn't have the mobile integrated health program if it weren't for his work over all these years, and his promotion to BC is well deserved. So congratulations to him. Congratulations to all the other promotions and retirees. And thank you again to all the members that are out there every day. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Director White.
To echo those thoughts, I want to say congratulations to the retirees, congratulations to the promotees. Very excited about congratulations to our new union leadership. Crawford, Trevor Jameson, Matt Cole on their new roles, and very much look forward to continuing good labor management relationships. I also want to wish a speedy recovery to the members of our organization that are out recovering from COVID or any other ailment. And I want to thank the membership for stepping up and working many excessive hours to maintain staffing levels throughout a pandemic, excessive wall time, and whatever other challenges, increased call volume that they're facing. So thank you.
Thank you, Director White. Director Clark.
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. I want to thank the men and women of Metro Fire right now. They're working under very challenging conditions, and we do appreciate you. Believe it or believe it that we do appreciate the hard work that you're doing out there. Also, I'd like to welcome back Chief Wagaman. Glad that you're well, and also congratulations to all the guys that are retiring. Godspeed on your retirement. I mean, this is a different difficult time to be retiring, where you can't really go a lot of places or do all the things that you want to do as a recently retired person. But hang in there, and things will get better. And I also want to thank everybody for their reports. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Director Clark. I'd just like to congratulate the retirees, welcome them to the 10-7 Club. I'd like to also thank the PIO for his wonderful news reports that he's been giving. I get phone calls from my constituents who watch that and call me up and tell me that Metro Fire is on the news again tonight. And it's on Channel 40 tonight, and it's going to be on Channel 40 tonight at 2200 hours again. I got 3 texts during this meeting tonight about that. I'd also like to express my gratitude to all of the members who are continuing to be mandatory and coming into the stations and continuing to work in these horrible conditions during COVID. And just thank you from the bottom of my heart. And to all the support staff for continuing to work even from home now. And for that, I'd like to conclude this meeting and say thank you very much.
Madam Chair, may I add one thing?
Yes, you may.
Just for everyone, I know our firefighters are working hard, but we can get as many people out that non-firefighters out to help as we can. Firefighters Burn Institute's doing their Boots for Dry, Fill the Boot Drive again up at Sunrise Mall, February 3 through 6. And they definitely need volunteers to help bring water out to the firefighters. That's the biggest thing during the day. Each of those days are shifts there. And I'd love to see some more Metro people out there helping out and supporting all the firefighters from the region that make it out to this every year.
Fill the boot.
Yes.
February 3 through 6.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, everyone. Meeting adjourned. Good night. Thank you.